here. Let me go to Karina. Karina out of Louisiana. Karina, welcome to the show. You're on the air.
Hey, Jesse. How are you?
All is well. How are you?
I'm doing all right.
Good.
I just wanted to call. I've been listening to you. Sometimes I, have urges to call, but I listen to it, and it lines up every time with what I'm going through, right? I forget my mom and my dad. I'm living by myself. Everybody, I had cut everybody, but it still makes me feel like, like the dying thing. But it's just like, I just don't know, like, to go sometimes about it, or even when it comes to, I'm not searching for somebody, but it comes to, I guess, how I present myself, like, I guess, give a hint, and, I get flirted, but I'm like, okay, I see what people are dealing with. Like, I don't know, it's so clear to me to see that even, like the men following the women or stuff like that. Like, I work at a retail store, so it's like I just see it really vividly.
Yeah. That's what happens when you wake up and you see what's going on inside of you. You're going to see what's going on inside of everyone. You see clearly what's really, really going on. And that is amazing because that's God's love for us so that the world won't overtake us. Evil won't overtake us.
Why do I feel the sadness when I see that, though?
And who is feeling this?
Me.
And who is you? Who are you? Who is you?
It's hard. It's like the person that...
Who is you?
Like, as a person that is in this body. I'm just a soul. That's what I'm saying. It's so hard to see. It's like so difficult because I live my life so different. And now that, like, I was searching, really in my heart searching. And then now that I see it, it's just so hard.
Who is the soul that feels sad? I mean, who is the person that feels sad?
The person that I lived all my life, that it was wrong, like the not me.
Right.
I call it like the not me and the real me.
And so why do you say I feel sad when you know it's not you that's feeling sad? That's that false nature, because it want you to say I feel sad so that you can continue to identify with it so that you won't die from it. And in order to live, you must die, meaning that all identities must die. So never say, I feel sad, unless you're consciously just trying to communicate, right? But don't identify with sadness. It is not you. I promise you, it's not you.
Right, but that's what I'm saying. When it comes to communicating with people, for them to understand, like, I guess understand me or understand what I'm trying to say. You see what I mean? Like, every time if I talk to somebody, right? Like, I go through it by myself. Like, no, I barely, like, I will say, like, the only person that I talk to is my dad. And because, I live without him for so long, then now it's like, it's kind of like I can see the same that he wants my attention because he haven't had it, right?
Right. Yeah.
And I get to see that in a way, not control me, but trying to tell me advices that, it would be helpful long time ago, and I try to, tell him and kind of like, well, not tell him, but for him to understand and he sees it. But at the same time, it's like that communication of just, having, I guess, that person to talk to.
I understand. Here's what I know what you mean. And it's not easy to find people around you in your circle that understands where you're coming from. So it's difficult to speak the real truth with them, a real talk. But here's what I recommend. I highly recommend. Never, ever, 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 never try to get anyone to understand. Either they see it or they don't see it. Because most don't want to see it. They love their false identities. They love their revenge. They love their jealousy. They love their gossip. They love their fear. They love their misery. And they don't want to
Right.
see it. And so God just leaves them in the darkness without forcing or imposing on them. I highly recommend you do the same. Either they see it or they don't. If they don't want to hear it, don't impose it. If they don't want to see it, don't impose it at all. You're on the right track.
Right. See, and then that, like, listening to this show and stuff, like, I overcame certain things. Like, I used to date women, I used to live that life. So he turned me, right? Like, he turned me, and then now I used to not feel scared because I was like, I took more like my grandpa's role because he was the one in my life. So I wasn't as scared, but then now it's just kind of like me adventuring sometimes. It's just kind of like, it sets me back to not want to go anywhere because not that I feel threatened, like somebody's going to do something to me, right? And I mean, I can take precautions, like, I don't know, take a machete with me or something, but it's just like that. Like, I want to enjoy life, right? Like, I want to go out since I'm not, nobody, I don't have a string attached to nobody.
Right on.
Like, I want to go out, but it's like, at the same time, I understand me as I understand myself, but at the same time, I see it clearly that, yeah, I do need a man, like, even in my apartment, if something is messed up in there, I will have to call somebody,
Right. Well, listen, that's beautiful that you're no longer a lesbian because you were never a lesbian. It was another false identity that came from resentment, from anger. It was
Right.
it was the nature of evil making a home in you, telling you, and then the world confirming it that it was you. It was never you. I'm dealing with a group of people underground right now, men and women, that are dealing with that. They think they didn't want to be that, so they fought it for a long time. And then the world told them, oh, it's okay, that's who you are. And they still, even though they tried to accept it, they still didn't find comfort in it. Now they're
Right.
starting to hear the message that that's not them. It's just another false identity. And God said that in order to live, we have to die from all identities, all ideas and all identities. And so if you just stay on this track, doing the silent prayer and watching, I'm telling you, when you need a man for the right way and the right reason, it will happen. It's going to be like, the word magic is the only word I can think of, but it's beyond magic. It will be provided for you. And the fact that you can't really just go out in the world and have fun now like that way, old way, it's two things are happening. You're dying from the false you, and you're overcoming the world. And eventually, you're going to be in the world, but not of it. It's going to be amazing. You'll be by yourself, and you will enjoy being by yourself as much as you would if you had 1,000 people around you. It's going to be amazing.
Right. I mean, I see it, and sometimes when it comes to thoughts like that, what I do, I just hop on the road and do deliveries just to keep my mind, I guess.
No, when those thoughts come, don't run away from them. Don't fight with them. Don't face it. All you need to do is to see them. And God wants you to see them so you would know it's not you, so you can continue to die so you could be resurrected. You can live. You have
All
to
right.
face it. Just face it.
Uh-huh.
Don't what
Right.
if it's boredom, if it's loneliness, if it's anger, if it's fear, if it's depression, if it's whatever. You want to see it so you can stop identifying with it and die from it. And the real you, as you're dying from the not you, the real you is coming to the forefront, and there are no words to express who you really are. It's going to be amazing.
Right. Because, see, I feel sometimes, that's when it comes to, like claiming it. I don't want to claim it, but it's
Right.
like when it comes to expressing, it's like I guess the loneliness of never being wanted. And then now that it's like I'm not wanted anyway,
Right.
So it's like that comes out.
Well, in this world, and we talked about it earlier with the experts when we show a guy called Cab Solidity, and he was talking about the
Right.
struggle with a life that's meaningless,
Right.
struggling with relationships, dealing with parents. All that stuff is just pure evil, and there is no life in that. That's why it doesn't work. You want to die from that, and then you will have real life, which only comes from the light from God. Nobody loved nobody in this earth. There is no such thing as love on this earth. It only comes
Right.
from God.
See, that's why the whole renewing the mind, because being told certain things from littles is like we're trying to, I guess, see life how you're told, and it's just so that's why the whole, I guess, fake identities of words like love and all that is just so confusing now, because it's like
Yeah.
you before, that's what you were searching all the time, and at the time it was working, right? But then something will happen. It's like going, like you say, going to hell, and then a little bit good, and then going still in hell, and it's like I see as in, because I did before, me listening to these days on your show in the service, I seen that that's what I did before too, like crying to God, right? And then it made me think of he fixed it, because it gave me the option just to get out or the door, right? It's like he was showing me, okay, this is the door, now get out, and then something will happen, and then I will get out, and I will come back, and like that. So now it's like I came to the state of Louisiana, and I started to get close to the people at the church. But then now, even coming back, because I left because of how, they're not really seeing, and they would tell you, oh, no judgment, right? But there is judging.
Yeah.
So it's like going back, or just because I was just curious, and then I even shouldn't done that, because it gave me, again, clarity and clarification that they know about him, but they don't know him.
Yes. They have the
And you try
intellectual knowledge of him, but they don't know him at all.
Right. And then if you try to tell them, they don't understand. So it's like, so that's why I was like, okay, I think I just need to sit down, and then just like cry if I have to cry, or or so, because it's like I feel like water boiling, and that's what it makes me come out, or that come out.
Well, whatever happened, you just observe it happening, and don't call it you. Are you doing the silent prayer every morning, every night?
I do try to stick with it, but it's the same, tells me, but I'm going back, like, it takes me off for like a day or so, and then I go back again. It's kind of like, that's what I noticed, that it wanna get me off, like, it don't want me, like, it don't want to leave.
It doesn't. And so that's what, the last thing that the devil wants, the last thing that he wants, he doesn't care about anything else, but the last thing he wants you to do is be still. He does not want you to give up. He doesn't want you
Right.
to lay your weapons down and stop fighting because he knows that once you lay your weapon down, stop fighting, he have to depart. He's gonna get weaker and weaker. He want you frustrated. He wants you trying to fight him. He wants you arguing with him in your imagination. He want that. That's why he doesn't want you to sit still and let go. He would rather that you hoop and holler and pray. Pray, oh God, please help me, save me, and pulpit for
Right.
me, worship the Lord. He doesn't care about you doing any of those things because he knows you're worshiping him. But to sit and do nothing is the last thing he wants you to do. So you're on your way, Karina, and stay with it. You're doing just fine. It's working. And again, don't try to convince anyone of anything. Don't impose the truth upon anyone. Don't hold it against them if they don't want to hear it. And when that feeling comes that you are alone, you have always been alone. Your fans, your family, your friends, your lesbian friends, they have never been with you. You have always been alone. You just didn't know it. Now you can
Right.
see it, and now God is with you. You're going to be fine.
Right. I see when you say that, I get like a flashback, so I see what I always was alone, and then I was dating people just to not be alone.
Yes.
So then now that I can see it, and then it just sets me, where not get disgusted, but it's like I see myself before, and it's like, man, like was I really that messed up, right? And then now I
Beautiful.
see it so clearly, and it's like I try not to engage with people because it's like they won't understand.
Right.
Like I see it as it happened to me. It like he did that to me, right? Like people will before I woke up, people would tell me, "Oh, if you get close to God, you're gonna turn it straight." And it's just things that I was just not, it never. I don't know what people will just blurt things out or say, God will never accept you or so, but they don't get the time to explain that it's not who we are, that He loves us,
That's right.
but we're not who we are, so we have to know ourselves for us to notice that He does love us.
God has never, ever, or his son Jesus has never, ever, 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 but never, 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 ever, ever, ever looked upon you as a lesbian or anything, or a sinner or a saint or anything. God knows that it was always something driving you in your imagination and in your emotion. He knew it was the devil that made a home in you, and it was the devil that caused you to believe, confirmed by the world, but caused you to believe and do the things you've done. He has never accused you. He has never judged you at all. But the so-called Christian would tell you, oh, you're never going to get to heaven like that. They don't know what the hell they're talking about. They're in
Right.
hell lying to you because they cannot see.
See, I got that before because, me not knowing, right? Like,
Yeah.
I didn't know what I was going through.
Yep.
And one time, because of the church over here, they, like I said, they were not judging. I ended up bringing people that I was dating with, and I even had kids that I was trying to be, like my mentality. That's why it's just so weird how, well, not weird, but it's just everything changed.
Yes.
Like my mentality changed, and I see now how all these women trying to pretend to be a dad for somebody else's kids. It's just, I'm like, well, they need their father, right? Just like I was really yelling for my dad to
Yeah.
be in my life.
Yearning for the
Like,
Father.
Right, so that's why I say, like, it's just so hard for me. Well, it's not hard, but it's like I can see what I went through, and then that I'm looking at as in, whoa, they're into something, you know?
Yes.
Like they're bound into something, and they need to see it until they start searching for themselves,
Father,
right?
forgive them. They know not what they do. They literally cannot see. And you or I or no one else on earth can make them see. They have to want to see for themselves. And as soon as they want it, they will start to see. When they question what is really going on with me, they will start to see, and that's when freedom will come. But you can't make them see. But you can be the light. Now that you're overcoming the darkness, you're dying from that dark nature. You're going to rise in the light nature. Some who want the truth will see the light in you, and you'll be able to point them back to the Father. But otherwise, there's nothing you can do.
Right, but then whenever it comes to that, do I just, because I want to tell my story, because I don't understand like how I went through, and then now I'm not there. You know what I mean? And I think, like I said, the things that I went through is just giving me, or like you said, is getting me to the right direction. But other people, when you try to tell them, okay, well, like you gotta see that who raised you is the one that messed you up, right?
Right.
Like, and you have to forgive them for messing you up, but then they block themselves or be like, oh yeah, I forgive them. They will tell me I forgive them already, but they, for example, they're still at their mom's house or something like that.
You know what? When that happens, and you will run into that a lot. When that
Right.
happens, just wish them well in your heart. Wish them well. There's nothing you can do, and leave them in their hell. And don't feel anything. If you feel anything about it, let the feeling pass and die from that feeling. You can't help people until they want it. So when they say, "Oh yeah, I've forgiven my mother," they're lying. They have not forgiven, and the proof is in the
Right.
pudding. They still have no love. They have no insight because they have not forgiven. So you just say, "Oh, okay, you forgave it, fine," and you go on with your life and leave them in their hell. There's nothing you
Okay.
can do about it.
Right.
Because
It's just so, like I
people
see,
like what
like,
now?
oh, I was saying, like, I see, like, they do like it, like, they do in a way just for them to be, or they still keep being comfortable just in case if something happens, they have somebody to run to.
Yes. They're still trusting the world and not God. But if you notice, Kareem, God is okay with that. Have you noticed he just leave them right there in their hell? He has no problem with it because he know only a few will get on the straight and narrow. Only a few want to overcome the fallen state. Only a few. Even those that read the Bible and quote the scripture, they have scripture up the yang yang. They still love the emotions. They love the hell that they live in. And then they love quoting the Bible because they think in their own mind they look good quoting the Bible. And they think you see them in a good way because they're quoting the word. So they're getting all type of thrills both ways. They love living in their hell, another thrill, and they love quoting the Bible, another thrill. It's just
Right.
all thrills. So leave them in their hell.
Right. I see that a lot of people suggest, right, like for them to come off or to, I guess, see themselves, they say, "Oh, you have to get close to God," right? But
Right.
I never understood us in, well, I'm trying to explain us in how I lived. Like I wasn't always, like I wasn't a Bible thumper. Like
Nice.
I heard by my, my grandparents. They used to, take me to church, but to be honest, most of the time I was falling asleep. And then growing up, it wasn't me the same going to or reading the Bible. It was mainly like, I guess, searching a church, but I went through different churches, and it was just, I don't know if it was just because of the lacking of a father, because I used to say, well, if my actual dad, right, don't want me, I know God will want me. So it was always to cry out to him, because I had the lack of a father.
Right.
But,
Everybody yearn for the father. That's what the problem is.
Right. But see, other people don't see us like, if you're feeling like that, it's because it comes from the people that make you.
Yes. And the
Right.
people that tell you that you need to get saved, whatever they tell you, they're lying. They're blind. They can't see either. So wish them well.
Right.
And you go on with your last word because of time. Go ahead.
Yeah. Well, I was just gonna say, so that don't mean nothing, right? Like just being baptized or nothing. It just, this is like seeing that's being reborn, right?
Absolutely. And then seeing you die from that old nature, which is of the devil, that came from the imagination and emotions, and you're coming into the nature of God, which is all light, all love, all peace. It's everything. You'll be fine. It's amazing, and you will have paradise right here on earth. So stay with it, stay with the prayer, and call me again.
I will. Thank you. I appreciate it. Everything helps. It's been helping a lot.
Right on. Stay with it, stay with it, stay with it, all right?
All right.
Amazing. Merry Christmas.
Merry Christmas to you, too.
Thank you. The treasure chest is now open.